Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
If you actually listened to the last two shows, we have to thank you more than normal.
Yes.
Not that they were bad, but it was a long...
It was a slog.
Well, it was more for us long than it was for them because we broke it into two shows.
Yeah,
we
I guess so.
Recorded it in one night.
Because we haven't re-recorded that all in one night, and then we haven't recorded for 2 weeks, so we're like, I don't know what's going on, but that was a very
you could
long...
stop and nap and come back. We just had to keep going.
There was no pause button.
It was just
for us.
something we needed to do. So, and if everyone out there went to go see Joe versus the Volcano right away, Brian appreciates it. No one else does.
Well, you know, since we're talking about it, we did get some feedback from one of our listeners on our YouTube channel, Kevin Maley. I think I'm pronouncing that properly. And here was his comment.
Kevin, I think we've
he's definitely commented and interacted with us before. He said, "You got that many men together, and none of you picked Enter the Dragon from 1973. I'm baffled."
Yes, you know what? It was on my list at one point. It was.
I didn't think about that.
No, I did, and it just Yep.
Good, Kevin. Good thought.
Yeah,
it is. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had seen that in the last,
and we love John Saxon, or at least
and
two
it
of
had
us
John
do.
Saxon. If I had seen that in the last 2.5 decades, it was just it got squeezed out.
Oh, never even.
Do you know why it didn't make my list?
You've never
Because
seen
I
it.
have
never
seen it.
So
you have
never seen Bruce Lee stiff palm right up into a guy's rib cage. Is that what you're saying? It's like
I've probably seen a clip of that, but I've never seen the movie.
Yeah.
I think
Now
I
I
saw it in
feel
the
I'm
theaters.
adding it
was
to my
just-
list of movies I need to see that I've never seen.
And I'll tell you, it's one of those things. Kevin and someone else may say I'm out of mind. It's not the greatest movie in the world, but it certainly is entertaining. It is the first mainstream kung fu movie or karate movie.
But that's probably what makes it important,
Yes,
which is why it
U.S.
probably
mainstream,
belonged to be on the list.
And again, it's
belongs
also
on the list.
archetype of it's kind of the Die Hard of those movies because a whole lot of people basically remade that movie in a whole different. It's like the competition thing and the evil guys and I mean. It's been done over and over and over again, and
The Karate Kid.
that's what I'm
Basically
saying.
the
I'm
same
saying the
thing,
Karate
except-
Kid, all the video game knockoff things. But like I said, that's kind of and I'm sure there was something prior to that made for Japan, but this was or China. It's still awesome.
Karate movies were. When I use the word karate, I mean all those fighting movies.
martial
I know
arts.
that's not necessarily the style, but they were almost like porn. It was in weird theaters, not mainstream, and this is really the first mainstream one. So thank you, Kevin.
And it had John Saxon,
what I'm
this
hearing
token
you
white
say-
guy who does not actually fight. So
What I'm hearing you say is without Enter the Dragon, we don't get Over the Top.
oh yeah,
Over the Top is an arm wrestling movie.
It's basically the same thing, but it's arm wrestling instead of kung fu.
No, Over the Top is one of the worst movies ever made.
I know. This is
And
why
I'm a
I
big.
joke.
I'm gonna let's see. What would I take off?
okay. Without Enter the
I-
Dragon, you don't get. What was our Aesop episode?
Hidden somebody.
Yep.
Hidden
Yep.
somebody.
Yes.
Some crouching something.
Hidden,
something. Yeah.
yes.
We ripped that
We
off.
totally ripped it off. Yes.
That was an epic thing. Oh, jeez, what would I take off? I'd have to take off Chinatown. No, I don't know.
Can't. That's what I'm saying.
There's
It's
something
hard.
that would
It's
come
hard
off.
because at the point that I did that, I was looking at the 90s. I was like, what can I shave off in the 90s? What can I shave off in the 80s? And I was too heavy with the earlier stuff.
I'm looking at it's a tough one.
It is
think
a
I'd take off
superb
Back to
choice,
the
though,
Future.
and he is correct. One of us should have fallen on that sword.
Yes, thank
Should
you,
have given
Kevin.
up
You're
something
absolutely right.
to do that one.
An important classic. Thank you.
Yeah.
But today we got a bunch of stuff. We're not telling you what it is because it may not all make it in. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
There you go. I like the audience knowing what we're dealing with. Let's go some random. Todd, what do you got?
So, they're talking about doing a Star Wars movie, which basically means in 6 months they'll deny that they ever talked about it. But
they're talking a lot about this one.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about the same one.
Yeah, Sean Levy's movie that supposedly Ryan Gosling is in talks to be in.
That's I had that written down as well.
I'm wondering if this is what they need. I really do. Whether they need to get this franchise back on track, whether they need to bring a big name in and tell a different kind of story.
And he's like, look, I don't want to make a movie that's tied to anything else.
Yep.
I wanted it to, and we can't keep living in the same pool or same section of the galaxy.
Well, we'll see.
I'm fine with that.
Celebration is in Japan this year, coming up in April, so we're going to get something announced. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying if we're going to get any news at all about what the next movie actually is going to be, other than Mandalorian and Grogu, we're going to get it in April.
That sounds like a for sure. And it's funny, even in this article, if we read the same one, it said, the Rey Daisy Ridley movie that stalled. Like, that stalled? That was like the one that was moving ahead the most.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but it's on its fourth round right now.
I also wonder if this is like Hollywood speak to get them talking about Ryan Gosling in advance of the Andy Weir movie.
That's not out for another year.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they just want to keep the him and sci-fi together.
And honestly, they haven't talked about that nearly. They should.
Yeah. Well, the problem is you can't really talk about that movie without giving it away. And that is the thing. It's like I've tried recommending that book to people, and it's like, what's it about? And I'm like, I can't tell you what's it about because
it's so good.
It's fantastic. And
I hope they do it right.
I will tell you, if you have not read the book, listen to the audiobook. It's just a great way to experience it because the audio elements are there.
But I
enjoyed reading it. I haven't listened to it.
I was equally nervous about how they were going to translate The Martian, and I was very satisfied with that movie.
Extremely, extremely satisfied.
So I'm hoping that they do.
I've said this before. I go audiobook, book, movie for The Martian, and in terms of presentation, and but they're all fantastic. So I'm really optimistic about this.
But those two knuckleheads are doing it. I don't know if I trust them. I worry about
and this.
That.
I got to say, this is a tricky thing because it's inevitably going to be compared to The Martian in a number of ways. It's not, but it's going to be. But the elevator pitch for this sounds very similar. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting. I wonder if this Sean Levy, obviously he's hot, Deadpool, but he also is like a guy who can get shit done. Like,
yes.
It's not like, here's this director that we want to work with, and then let's figure out a writer. Oh, that's not the right. He's got his own writer partner, so I hope maybe that's a built-in thing.
Disney's been doing this. Oh, they're hot right now. We're going to grab onto them and throw their name around, and then as they get, they'll wander off the project.
But they were
later.
doing that with hot young people, not hot established.
I know that. But what I'm saying is, I hope this breaks that pattern. I hope this is somebody who can deliver, and it's not just like, oh, get excited about this because 6 months from now or a year from now.
Other than James Mangold, almost the more recent people, none of them are like, oh yeah, this person can totally get a $200 million movie off the ground. Like, no offense to this woman who's supposed to direct the Daisy Ridley thing, but like seriously,
she's never directed anything on a large scale ever, or any sci-fi or
Sean Levy can do it. I think James Mangold.
He absolutely can. James Mangold could do it too.
Mangold is doing the Dawn of the Jedi, and
that's what I'm saying.
That's moving forward, and Sean Levy's going to do this, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Rey movie.
I hope it happens.
Fades away. We'll see.
Yeah,
I think they're going to announce a bunch of stuff in April. I really do.
Yeah, get good people who can bring the right, and maybe they're gun shy because freaking what's his face with The Last Jedi. did his own thing with his own writer, blah blah blah, and we saw what happened with that.
I would be
So,
more gun
I don't
shy
know.
based on the number of pullbacks than that itself. You know, so
I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Barry, what do you got?
Sticking with the Star Wars theme, since the last time we recorded, there's been a bunch of Ahsoka Season 2 announcements.
yeah.
So
I had that
we
too.
know Ray Stevenson unfortunately passed away.
Yep.
His character, Baylan Skull, has now been recast with Rory McCann, who was the Hound in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
apparently
okay.
those two guys
That makes
were good
sense.
friends
I mean, no
in real
offense
life.
to the dude.
Yes.
Recast it.
Yep.
Yeah, so they were like tight friends in real life, and he doesn't look exactly like him, but it's a close enough that it'll work.
But you know, you can't get if you're doing this if you go for the lookalike thing, then it's the it just feels weird. So
I think he's got
you
the
know,
right
and it's
size, right? He's like a big guy, and he's kind of got the similar look, and he's got the similar accent. So I think it'll work.
exactly, and he's very physical actor, and
Yep.
but it's like I guess the best example is like when they were really smart when they recast Dumbledore after Richard Harris passed. They didn't go with the same physical type, but they went they got someone with similar gravitas, and it worked. And this is what they need to do. So
Yep. So moving on with the Ahsoka Season 2 announcements, they've also now, I don't know if it's official from Disney, but it's been in a lot of articles that Hayden, Ewan, and Anna Greenblatt, who played young Ahsoka, are all coming back for Ahsoka Season 2 with bigger roles. Like they're going to have
Obi-Wan coming back?
Yeah. So Hayden
He wasn't in
and he wasn't. So Hayden and Ariana Greenblatt coming back because they were both in Season 1, and now they're adding Ewan McGregor.
So I would
Wait, who
I
was
would
the
be
There's going to be
totally-
Clone Wars
young
flashbacks.
Ahsoka.
I would be
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
happy if the first episode she's flying that ship, she dozes off, we get 5 episodes of that, and then she wakes up and she shoots somebody or something. But because I thought that was my favorite part of the whole thing.
Well, that's that whole world between worlds. So
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going with this, Barry, but I have an add-on. But keep
No,
going.
I'm getting there. So then I
Okay.
read today or yesterday that they're also saying that Natalie Portman is potentially going to reprise
I
Padme.
saw that. I think that's a little more hopeful than
Yeah.
the other
But
thing.
if
Is
they
it's
do
hopeful.
a Clone Wars flashback segment or a couple of them, that would make perfect sense. She was in episodes of the Clone Wars with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
but didn't have as much direct contact with Ahsoka as they did. And it was a lot more like walking around Coruscant in the hallways and stuff like that. Like you said, I'd love to see them actually fighting and doing, I mean, she's the actress is maturing to the point where she can play Ahsoka a little later. I think this could be really
But they're
cool.
talking. I think they're talking about doing this where we saw Anakin, sort of the world between worlds thing.
I don't necessarily know
And
that they
may
need
be
to
where
do
we
that.
see-
I mean, it could be a pure. This
And
time
we also
they've done
saw
that.
Anakin and Obi-Wan. Well, I guess that was in the Obi-Wan series, though, wasn't it? Where we saw the
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
of them. Yeah, I'm confusing
Yeah.
them in my head, but
But
we'll
that's
see.
sort of what they're talking about.
I hope
It'd be
it's actually a
quick
pure flashback,
thing.
and I think that's what they should do.
I don't think. But there were no flashbacks.
No,
really.
I'm saying
Were
this
there?
time around it should be.
Oh, okay.
So
I
I
mean-
mean, the move they're in production on Ahsoka season 2, or they're in pre-production and production is starting. I think they said maybe in April. So
If they do this thing where they see these people in this other sort of deal, I mean, they could bring anyone back.
Well, they
Yes.
leaned heavy into Rebels in the first season. If they lean more into Clone Wars in the second season, I'm totally fine with that.
yeah, me too.
So, yeah,
We'll see. That's actually shooting.
yeah.
Yes.
Those are actually the two exact things I had.
Okay. Well, I've got one or two others, but one for sure. Todd, did you have something else?
No, just go.
Okay, so this is something I saw again while I was out of town. Have either of you watched Alien Romulus at home yet?
No, and I'm dying to watch it, and I bought the 4K, and I just haven't
So
done it.
Fede Alvarez, who was the director, said that they've done work for the home video release to improve the Ian Holm CGI stuff.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah,
He was saying he wasn't satisfied. They ran out of time, and that he made them spend the money to go back and improve it. So I'm actually now, I want to rewatch it anyway, but now I'm really curious because I wonder how much better
I did read that.
the Ian Holm stuff looks.
I haven't read the comic book that's been sitting here,
And we
for
know you like director's
2
cuts,
months.
Barry. So
I do, but this is more
See,
less
stuff
of a
like
director's
that,
cut.
was
if they're not changing the content of the film, I don't mind that. Okay, I don't want them putting like speeders in the background. I don't want them doing all this random stuff. But if they're just improving something like that because you can sit 2 feet away from it at home if you want to, I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, me either.
it did look a little.
There were
not
moments
great,
where it
even
looked
though
Uncanny Valley. Yeah.
It's a dead android, so it kind of passed off okay,
It gives me
I
hope
gotta
that
sit down and
someday
watch it.
we'll see a version of Rogue One with an improved Leia at the end.
How could they not? I mean, honestly, the average video game was better than that.
I know. I mean, but the technology is so much better now than it was then. That just go back in and
Yep.
tweak it.
Yeah.
Come on, give us what we want, people.
Yep.
Well, speaking of Romulus, at Fanboy Collectibles, and I had this as a
Dave, the
random,
natural
not
lead
really-
in was, speaking of giving us what we want. Come on, you totally blew that one. I got to say.
It was right
It's
there.
been 2 weeks, sorry.
It was right there. It was you just had to reach
There's
out
a
and grab
Hot
it.
Toys rain figure, which I may need to have just for the early pulse rifle.
That is cool.
And yeah, I'm surprised that they get a hold of everything. So it's up for pre-order right now. The rain figure from Alien Romulus with the pulse rifle. Awesome. I need to get that. Plus, there's Rocky 3 pops and Rocky 4 pops. Gotta love Rocky 3.
Look at that
and 4,
Drago
which I do.
pop. That's cool.
Yeah. Hot Toys Human Torch, which who knew we'd see that? But I know we saw.
I think we're going to see. We're going to see people they passed on the street from that movie getting action.
We
figures.
saw Nice Pool last week,
Yeah,
but the
every
Human
every extra from that movie is going to get a figure. By the
That's
time
an
they're
awesome
done.
figure. But they got everything. It's Fanboy Collectibles has got all your needs covered. They got Sideshow and Hasbro and Kotobukiya, all the stuff you need. It's right after the holidays. If you're sort of feeling that, pang of I'm not getting any more presents or I'm not giving any more presents, go there, buy yourself something.
Buy yourself something
someone else
nice.
something.
You deserve it.
Hey,
you
Buy
do.
us something.
Hey, if you
For our buddy
survived the
Kevin-
last 2 episodes of the Regular Joe's podcast, you deserve a reward.
And for our
Exactly.
buddy Kevin, there's a Bruce Lee flying kick statue up for pre-order right now from Star Ace.
Absolutely.
There you go. If you're a big Bruce Lee fan, you got everything you need. So check those guys out, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you.
Okay. Now that we're
All
out,
right, where are we
now that
going
we're out of
first?
the ad, I will say about that rain figure. I don't do bases for the most part of my Hot Toys figure. That is a freaking cool base.
It is a cool base.
Multiple, all the piece of the eggs, the pods, the face huggers, and then a piece of a spine. It's really cool.
They need floating acid,
Yes.
blood acid.
Yeah. I had
that'd
a
be
conversation with somebody last week when they announced that figure who I thought the head sculpt looked great. He was complaining about it, and then he was like, zoom in on the eyes. That actress has blue eyes, and they gave her brown eyes. I'm like, dude, it's a prototype.
All right. I like every figure. I think the prototype
I never quite
heads aren't quite as good as the production heads.
absolutely.
Yep.
So, because I think the head sculpt could be a little better, and I'm saying to myself, I'm sure it will.
I expect
be,
it will
most
be.
of the time.
Yeah.
They are.
Yep.
But that's a cool figure, and I said to myself, I gotta stop buying figures because I have no room. But I may need it. Her right next to Ripley would be pretty cool.
That would be
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're making more movies.
All right, what are we doing
so,
first?
She could be become a very beloved character over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to the Daredevil trailer?
Let's do it.
So, if you have, there's no such thing as spoilers for trailers. Although, who didn't we say we'd spoil? We gave someone was it Sean? We gave a warning about
Yes.
Superman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, sorry, Sean. You could turn off your podcast now, but we're going to talk about Daredevil. But if you're a fan of people's arms getting broken back at the elbow, this is the show for you.
If you were thinking, here's the lead on this. If you were thinking the Disneyfication of Daredevil was going to mean the violence is going to be dialed way down, and that what you loved about the Netflix series was going to be bled out of this, you can put that aside. Because it's there, baby, and it may be on 11 now.
It's always a violent trailer.
Honestly, I think we have Deadpool and Wolverine to thank for this. I think that just kind of like they were like, okay, we survived this. Go for the fences. So,
and I think what I really liked about it, because when they first started talking about this show, it was Charlie Cox, and maybe it was D'Onofrio, but it was nobody else. And seeing everybody back was great. I mean, we all loved the Netflix show, and I would have enjoyed this if they weren't there. But it was nice to see Foggy back. It was nice to see her name's Karen, right?
Karen Page. Yep.
Yeah, Karen. It was good. It was just good to see the actors back.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, and they. They've completely retooled this from when it was they first started shooting it, and I think they figured out, ahead of time, instead of after it aired, that the magic just wasn't there, and I'm very confident this is going to be something that we're happy with.
I read something this week after the trailer came out and I don't know how true it is, but they were saying that the original version was basically a courtroom procedural with a little bit of fighting. And when they went back and when they looked
who
at...
Who they put in charge of this stuff?
Well, and when Feige or the executives looked at it, that's when they made them stop and said, nope, go back and make it more like
you're
Daredevil.
right. Probably after they saw Deadpool and all the action in Deadpool, wait, we can't do this.
Yeah. So
you got to reel this stuff in, Kevin.
Well, thankfully, they had the good sense to stop and retool it. Because this looks really good.
Yeah, were they trying to lean into She-Hulk too much?
Yep.
I mean, without comedy? But, no, it does look awesome. It looks like there's a ton of action. It's interesting. I think at one point he says he hasn't been Daredevil for a long time, which is weird. There's a whole story going on.
We saw 4 different cowls. That must have made you happy, Todd. You're going to get 4 hot
That was
toys
cool.
Yes. Yep. Including the ketchup and mustard cowl. So, that
was cool because it was cool, like the Ben Affleck movie. He had all the cowls lined up. Todd just threw up.
Yeah, Todd does not acknowledge that movie.
No.
But what else were they showing? So, I just read. They said they claim that production of season 2 will start before season 1 premieres.
Well, season 1 was supposed to be like ridiculously long, so I think, and it's not. They were talking
how many episodes do we know?
I don't know, but they were talking 18 episodes.
Said like 18 episodes.
That's what I'm saying. So I think they've got a crap load of stuff shot that they can use.
Oh,
and so it makes sense to just keep going.
I love 18 sounds like a lot. I mean, for a show like this, The Love Boat used to do 26. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but your average streaming show is 8, maybe 10 if you're lucky.
Some are 6, which is ridiculous.
Yes, I know.
But it's also a matter of like quality versus quantity. I would rather see 6 or 8 tight episodes than like on Netflix. Every season of those shows was 13 episodes that should have been 8. And I mean all the Marvel shows across the board.
I agree with that, but I'd rather get 12 really good episodes. Like, don't make it.
Yeah, that would be great. But I'm saying if you're running one storyline and you've got to try to stretch it out to get to a certain episode count, I'd much rather it be they work with what they have.
I agree with you there, but I'd rather see 2 storylines. Yeah, or 8 longer episodes.
Yeah,
I watched this show on net. It's on Max called Bookie. It's Sebastian Maniscalco. It's a comedy. There were like 3 episodes. So it's a half-hour comedy, not a sitcom, but there were 18-minute episodes.
It's too short.
I mean, like
Barry.
Are you
Barry
for
was
real?
like that. Some of the episodes of Barry were super short. Some of them were a little longer. It was what
I've
it
never
was
seen 18.
It was the time
episodes.
they took, the time they needed to tell the story.
I think they're just cheaping out.
I agree with Dave.
Write a little bit more.
I'm not saying drag it out, but 18 minutes is short. That's shorter than a network sitcom with the commercials removed.
Network sitcom these days is like 23 minutes.
If you read a book, every chapter isn't the same length. And if you read a book and every chapter is the same length, it's a crappy book. Okay? So
no, I get that, but
when you
this
look
isn't
forward
any,
to something
this
dropping
is a
on a
comedy.
weekly basis to get to your favorite next episode of your favorite show, and for it to only be 18 minutes long.
okay, that I will agree with. If it's not,
And
if it's not
especially,
dropped
like,
if it's not dropped in a pile, then that
We're at the point where I think that's the only new show we're watching right now. Although stuff is coming out this week and next week, and I'm like, I'm waiting here for an 18-minute episode on a weekly basis. That's
we watched
ridiculous.
a 2-hour episode of Hoarders last night because we went through every streaming service. There was nothing on.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, exactly.
That's horrible.
We almost watched Deal or No
okay,
Deal
but you
Island.
did.
That's how
You
bad
said
it
you
was.
did finish Lioness, right?
I did finish Lioness, and that's another one of those
Lioness is
shows.
so
I
good.
wish that there
What
were
a
more
great show.
episodes. It's too short.
Yeah.
Well, you
It's
know,
almost
did you see The
fantastic.
Night Agent?
Yes.
Season 2 of The Night Agent comes out tomorrow.
Tomorrow
I think.
night. I saw that.
And then, you know what I watched? It
The
comes out
Recruit's
next
coming
week, I
soon,
think.
too, right? At the
The
end of the month?
Recruit, which wasn't as good as The Night Agent.
Yeah.
But I'm excited that there's some couple things coming out. What else was I watching? Something else. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, there's just not enough out there. As much as there's so much
Good.
shit.
You got 2 seasons of Silo to watch. Go back and watch it, Dave. It's going to be a little slow for you, but it's really good.
Yeah, I'm
It's
actually
the Australian Open. We've been
thinking I
watching the
need to watch
Australian Open.
that.
Yeah, it's
thinking
good.
I watched
Check out
Barbarella the other night. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that.
And did you do it? Did you do it like straight? Because that was your mistake right there. So
You're talking to me or him?
Barbarella, watching Barbarella. If you really need to watch that when you're either high or drunk. So
Oh, well, I don't condone those things, but I just watched the first part with the
when
news
she's
view.
floating in space
That was
naked.
yeah. They keep on saying Sydney Sweeney's remaking that movie. I don't know if that's one
Why?
of
I
these
think that's a
clickbait.
Just
rumor.
why?
They keep saying that.
hey, you don't remake
Would you go see it?
2001. You don't remake Barbarella. Period. Done.
I would see Barbarella with
watch
Sydney
The
Sweeney.
'60s. The '60s belong right where we left them.
And that's
Sydney
the
Sweeney's
dude.
a great actress.
I think she's fine. That's her.
She was really
Jane
good in
Fonda's
Madame Web.
husband did that to her.
Yeah.
Like seriously? Like what's wrong? What's wrong with both of you?
Her French husband. Okay, so it's like
Oh, there you go.
The best thing that we
Exactly.
got out of Barbarella was the name Duran Duran for a band in the 80s.
this is true. Yeah.
True. Okay.
All right.
So Daredevil coming up March 4th.
Yeah.
It's
I think.
coming up quick,
March
yeah.
4th. That's soon. It's coming up soon.
Plenty of time to watch 3 seasons of the original series.
I know. I
If
was
you
almost
haven't
going
seen
to
it,
go
people,
through that
go
again.
check it out.
There's a lot.
I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna yeah.
So me and Pam were watching TV, and Mark comes and says, "Oh, Daredevil trailer." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I saw it." I'm like, "I don't know if Pam's gonna like it. A lot of violence." She's like, "Oh, I like Daredevil. I'll just close my eyes." I'm like, "What do you know of Daredevil?" I'm just like, because I'm trying to think, what has she seen? She's like, "Well, the Ben Affleck movie." I'm like, "Don't say that around Todd." So
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
I will say there's a worse Daredevil than that. And it's the
don't you dare say Rick Springfield or
no,
who's the
it's
other guy?
Rex Smith in the Trial of the
Rex
Incredible
Smith.
Hulk.
It is Rex Smith.
Okay, who cannot remember not to turn and look at people who are talking. It's like it.
I'm blind. What?
Yeah. It's like he doesn't wear glasses and he turns and looks at people when they talk to him. It's like, yeah, okay,
Yeah, that's funny. The Trial of the Incredible Hulk.
yeah, yeah. Good.
I wish,
Good time.
not that I almost wish there was a tight. It's tough to watch 3 seasons before March, especially when we got other stuff going on.
All you need
but
to watch
it'd be
is
nice
that
if someone.
fight scene in the hallway.
Yeah, I
watch
know.
this.
I actually,
Hallway
I showed that to my kids in class who did not know Daredevil. I showed it to them a couple weeks ago. So,
I should just select episodes, maybe just show her.
Yeah.
Just to get the Ben Affleck out of her mind. Anyway, okay, Daredevil coming up. All right, so what do we go? Skeleton Crew just finished last week, right?
Yes.
As we record
this, it was wrapped last week.
So there'll be spoilers, but I was happy with it. I mean, right? I thought it was entertaining. You know me, I don't like little kids, but I didn't think they ruined it.
I think it did everything it did. I'm sorry. I think it did everything it needed to do, and I don't have an objection with any of the way it did it. But again, no, accepting going in that I'm not really the target audience for this, but I enjoyed it.
But are you? I mean, you know, I think it's like an ET. Anything, everyone could be the target audience.
Yeah,
it wasn't like something for 7-year-olds to go see. There was
I don't
violent
think it was dumbed down for
point.
kids as much as it was.
I don't think so.
I think that kids could enjoy it because I think it would appeal to them, given that it was, you know, the characters and the storyline. But I also feel like, you know, us old school Star Wars fans, I won't say old men, but old school Star Wars fans, guys that have been around since the beginning, there was enough Star Wars in there and enough adventure to keep me interested. And you guys, we all know I'm the easiest one to please out of all of us when it comes to this stuff. I've been let down by a bunch of these shows, and I didn't feel let down by this one. I didn't feel like it was dumbed down.
I thought they did a good job.
It was respectful of the universe, and it's the first thing in that vein we've seen that's independent of everything else. So it's set in the universe, but they're not forcing ties to Luke Skywalker or any of this other stuff. It's just set in time and place. And I really enjoyed that because I've been saying for years, you don't have to go, this doesn't have to be a universe where it's 2 degrees of separation for everybody. And like I said, I liked it a whole lot, and they did not have to slip in a good
job. They
C-3PO cameos and stuff like that
Star Wars
to make it fun.
Been fun in some of the last incarnations of especially in the streaming shows haven't been fun, and you know there's so much you can nitpick, and there's probably stuff in here you can nitpick too, but it wasn't as part of it I think is because it didn't tie back to characters that we knew. It didn't tie back to settings that we knew.
It didn't have to accomplish something.
I have read
have that baggage.
I've read a lot of books that are considered like young adult fiction, okay? Because a lot of authors that I like kind of cross over into that. And this felt like that. It wasn't like written for kids. It was written for like 13, 14-year-olds, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, who can handle a character getting killed. And I'll say it, a bad guy who is actually a bad guy. Okay. And I was worried
surprised
from like episode 2 on that they were going to redeem this guy in some way.
I thought they would too. I totally thought they would.
And I was I would have been really disappointed but he betrayed them at every single turn. He completely worked in his self-interest.
100%. And he put those kids in danger more than one. He held a blade of some sort to somebody's throat more than once, and there was no doubt he would have killed them. He acted
like a pirate. Okay, and
I'm surprised they didn't make him be at least okay at the end.
Yeah, I am
not
too.
Good
and
guy.
I'm super pleased about that.
I'm glad.
Yep.
The only thing that they did was show that he said it. I don't want to hurt you, but he would have. Like he basically said it didn't have to be this way. But
okay,
he was
but
fully
you also
prepared
say that to
do what he had to do.
You say that to get people to comply. Okay, so
no, but he said it after they already didn't comply. He wasn't saying
no,
it.
But what I'm saying is he was making where they stood clear. So,
right. And again, no spoilers because the show's over, so we can say whatever we want.
No, spoilers. We said
when
spoilers.
KB's ship crashed, he was like, "Look what you did! You killed your friend, basically." And he's saying it didn't have to be like this. If you would have just done what I told you to do, like I was happy that they didn't try to redeem him, and it would have it really would have ruined it, I think, if they made him like become a good guy at the end.
I thought they were going to do it. I really expected it. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think... So, I mean, we got, 3 sentences of, yeah, I know the Force because I was taken in by a Jedi, blah, blah, blah. Do we ever see his backstory? Is there a season 2?
We don't need to, though. That's the thing. We understood that is what happened. That this is somebody who was basically not even an apprentice, basically was found by a Jedi, and before he could be, fully brought in and fully trained, Order 66 came down. So it's just...
and if you follow the timeline, then, that would have been right around Order 66. So either the Jedi that found him was already on the run themselves, or it happened just before Order 66.
Right,
and then the
that's
Jedi
what I'm saying.
So
it's somewhere out
but it doesn't
the outer
sound
rim.
like he was ever brought to the Jedi Temple and formally...
No,
it didn't. And it's what I'm saying. So it's like part of this is like a little pre-training, and part of it is assessment, and part of it is, and he's also watching this person and picking up things. I felt that was very genuine. He we did not need another Padawan who, was betrayed. And
no, I didn't get that.
And we didn't need that story because we saw that in Kenobi. So this is a different story, and it made perfect sense. And also, it's also part of Kanan's story is being cut off like that.
But it definitely felt like the extent of his powers, where he could do a little force pushing, he could do a little force grabbing, and he could move things, but. He wasn't a Jedi. He was never fully trained. Got very far in his training. But he knew just enough to do a few tricks.
Yeah. Yep. So and like I said, that worked. Okay, I also got to say, and I think I texted you guys this. I love that they had a shell over the ship, because they kept taking the ship places. It's supposed to be this famous pirate ship, and nobody was recognizing it. Everywhere they went, nobody was like, "Oh yeah, it was this piece of junk."
Right.
And you would think that if it's this notorious ship that all these legends are associated with, someone's going to recognize it. And it made perfect sense that this guy had disguised it and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was a clever
I also
thing.
Get the sense from the dialogue in the last episode that had all happened hundreds of years ago. It wasn't like it was 20 or 30 years ago.
This is the stuff of legends, okay? And this is So and that's fine. And like I said, it worked. I stopped having the Goonies vibe 2 episodes in, so that was good. I liked it. Like I said, I liked it a lot.
I was also glad that there was no major cameo at the end. I think that you can speculate that Leia was probably on that blockade runner that came through, because that looked like her ship from The Force Awakens, or The Last Jedi, or whatever it was. But
but there's other ones
maybe
there's
not.
other stuff
but
out
we didn't
there.
have to see that. We didn't need to see it.
I could have lived with seeing Hondo sitting at the bar in the spaceport, in the pirate thing. That would have been
little surprised they didn't bring him into it, just because.
I was too.
Why not?
But they might have plans for him out there elsewhere.
They might.
So I guess they're just done with this, which is fine. I mean, it serves its purpose. It's certainly better than some of the other ones.
I know the writers have said that they have an idea for a season 2, and they don't know if they'll get the opportunity. And honestly, I'm okay with it being a one-and-done story.
Yeah,
I am too.
Good.
And if you actually if you want to let 3 years go by and go back to these kids and do something else, it doesn't have to be next season. It doesn't have to be. You got some interesting characters, and I got to say, I give them a lot of credit for doing what they did with the you know what race he is, I'm sure, but the elephant boy, because that could have just been silly, and they actually did a good job with that, and so again, I
don't know what race he is, but yeah.
Oh, you don't.
Is he the same race as Nice Noodles?
He's not Max.
No,
Rebo.
he's not. He's got different hands.
Or Max Rebo or whoever.
He's different.
They're probably
So I don't
just
know his name.
cousins.
Have you seen pictures? The kid wears a mask, and then I guess they just CGI over it.
They've got an animatronic mask, and it's a combination of animatronic and CG, from what I read.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's a big there's a big vent hole in the so they're not suffocating the kid.
And again, but I thought they used him well, and they used all the kids well. I thought that, like I said, and it was again, it was.
I wanted that Fern to beat what's his name's ass
Jod
somehow, but it wasn't.
I never got annoyed by the kids or their acting. I thought that they all did a good job, and I can't say the same about other kids that have been in other Star Wars series. So.
I agree entirely. And I will say, I'm going to say one comment though, is like nobody should wear eyeglasses in a Star Wars film. It never looks right, and unless it's something like an optical thing. Like the Doctor had in Mandalorian had like little lenses and stuff, but it's like whenever you see eyeglasses on someone, it just looks so odd. In the case of his dad, it just kind of takes you out of it.
So a couple of things I just want to throw out real quick. One is a year ago when I went out to California and we got to tour Tippett Studios. I think I told you guys that we had seen them working. We had signed NDAs and stuff, so I couldn't talk about it, but we had seen them working on some stop motion, and it was that giant crab creature from that. I think it was episode 6.
Yep.
Seeing that puppet in person and seeing how they animated it was amazing, and seeing how it finally translated into the show, I thought was really cool. So I just wanted to bookend that because I think I mentioned I saw something, but I couldn't say what it was. That was what it was.
Yes, that was cool.
And then the other thing, and we'll talk about this maybe next week or definitely in an upcoming episode, but so I just got back from a trip out to California. I was at Skywalker Ranch, and I got to go to Lucasfilm, and we got to do a tour in Lucasfilm. And this time, they let us take pictures, so we can post some pictures. But they had a whole skeleton crew display, which was really cool. They had all the kids' costumes. They had a bunch of hand props and some of the props. They had Jod's costume, and they had the major pirate costumes. So I sent you guys some pictures, but the main thing was they had the ship. They had the whole Onyx Cinder, the original model. Not I don't think the second version of it. I think the revealed ship was CG, but they had built a 4-foot model of the Onyx Cinder, and they had that on display as well. So I sent you guys some pictures. We can post some pictures on Instagram, but it was really cool to see that stuff. To see the costumes of a show that was literally still airing while I was there. And they had Wim's little action figures, and they had the walkie-talkie. They had the shovel that they used when they were digging it out. They had the costumes. It was really cool to see that stuff up close.
Oh, that's
so we
cool.
can post some pictures of that.
Like,
cool.
What's like? Why would they display them there? For just visitors, or
it's like the area within the Lucasfilm campus that they have it set up is right by their kitchen cafeteria area and right by the gift shop. So
even for employees to see it.
So it's for employees to see it, and it's also for visitors, because visitors pretty much always want to go to the gift shop. So they it's a big section right by there where they had everything. And the last time I was there, they had what was on display the last time? Oh, it was Dial of Destiny stuff was there the last time I was there in that same
cool.
display case. But we'll talk more about
pictures
my
that
trip.
we may or may not have seen are the ones you could share.
Yes, the pictures all the pictures I took on that tour, they said I can share. So I have not shown you guys even a fraction of the pictures that we can share. So there's good stuff coming.
That one of these pictures, that guy looks so realistic in.
Yeah,
this.
that picture I have better pictures. We'll crop him out. There was
the guy with the black hoodie.
Yeah, there was a guy sitting
very
in front
realistic.
of the display case, one of the employees. But
I will there's a lot of cool stuff. That's cool.
It was really cool, and I will say that day, Doug Chang was sitting in the cafeteria while we were there. I didn't go over to talk to him, but he was there.
I would totally like to. I've seen Doug. I think I met Doug Chang once. He's awesome.
Well, and I told you the other thing I texted you that same day when we were getting ready to leave, we were on an elevator and John Knoll got on the elevator, and I totally was like, oh my God, it's John Knoll.
How do you not get him to sign your copy of Photoshop? Can you have it
if
with
I
you?
only had the old discs with me, it would have been great.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I think he told because we were all like hitting each other going, oh my God, it's John Knoll. And he totally heard us saying it, but he just kind of smirked and got off the elevator at his floor. But more to come on my trip. Cool. I could talk about a lot of what I saw.
We'll do that next week.
So we'll do that next week.
So cool. I would say in expectations versus realizations, I think this is. I expected less, and was very, very in that way very happy with it. What we got.
That's good.
And there were my expectations were fairly low, and I think it. But I was very pleased. I was pleased with it. I enjoyed it. It's something I'd probably watch again. And there were things that like when he killed the werewolf dude, it was just like I was like, okay, they're not playing by kid rules here.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the point I was trying to make before. Is that, I mean, it was kids were the main characters, and it was definitely going to appeal to kids, but they didn't dumb it down for kids. The characters got killed.
No.
There was serious risk and danger and environments where the kids were at risk, and I don't think. I mean, when they said they kept talking about Amblin going into this, that was how they kept all the interviews with the crew and everybody was, it's got an Amblin vibe. It did have an Amblin vibe, which I thought was a good thing.
But none of them got killed, and none of their parents got killed, and then it was like I said, it fit within young adult stuff where it was like I said there was consequences, but it wasn't traumatic. And,
I mean, pirates got killed. There was a pirate who got shot through the eye, and in the next scene we saw him with an eye patch on. But then there were other pirates that
and
got
like
killed,
I said, again, to me the best thing was that he was genuinely a bad dude. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Thumbs up for me.
Good stuff. Happy to say we saw good stuff.
Yep.
Okay, next thing we're talking about Lower Decks, which had its final season was a little while ago. I just finished it the past couple days.
We've been anxiously waiting for Dave to finish it so we could talk about it.
I mean, it was
always a chore to get Dave to watch animation.
To talk about, but it was fine.
Well, I really was happy with the way it wrapped up.
Yeah, what I thought was different was that this whole season told a story where, there were threads in some of the other seasons that tied some episodes together, but not like...
This was more of an
arc.
Movie of the week kind of thing, yeah.
But they also did calls back to previous things. Her Klingon buddies, the transporter clone Boimer, and I've got everything on board that Defiant. I thought it was great. This was, it's funny. I'm watching it, and again, I'm a Star Trek nerd in the way you're a Star Wars nerd, Barry, and this is the only thing we have ever seen that acknowledges that there are two different sizes of those birds of prey. That there's like a small version, like we saw in the Voyage Home, and there's
I think they did that in the movie.
No, you never see them together. Okay, when it's convenient, it's a starship size thing, and when they need it to be smaller, they need it to be smaller. And here we saw like a cluster, 3 giant starship ones with one of the smaller ones, and it's like because they know this, and they also I love this cycle of going through the ship constantly changing.
Yeah, changing. Yeah,
and becoming cool. becoming a sovereign class. She's I can work with that. Yeah. No,
this show got Jolene Blaylock to come back and be in Star Trek again. I mean,
all of those people
Jolene
did their own voices.
Now, by the way, just Jolene.
Yeah,
and
what's up with that?
I don't know. I have no idea, but that's how she's billed now.
Garrett Wang came back.
Garrett Wang came back in a big way.
Oh my God, the Harry Kim stuff
Yep.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
I also love that Starbase 80 people are wearing 100-year-old uniforms. This place is so far down the line. Okay, they're just like they're letting them wear Enterprise era uniforms. It's
Well, and I think I mentioned this previously, but the thing I loved most, which is a tiny little detail, every week Boimler's facial hair got a little big.
And it just kept.
I'm shocked it actually.
You've never seen this in
fully,
anything
though.
animated, much less anything anything serialized. And it just grew from being really, and it just gradually grew. And I thought that was great. But he also stayed the same character, even though alternate reality or transporter clone Boimer was everything he wanted to be. I really liked it.
They nailed it. It was we've said it before. The show started off as a very manic cartoon, and it somewhat stayed that way. But it settled into a groove that just
settled into where
so
it
fun.
was
But they
appealing.
all the characters matured and developed, and the only thing they had going for them to begin with were like stereotypes and that kind of stuff. And as we got to know them and have expectations for who they are and what they would do, it worked. It worked really well. And like I said, I'm super pleased. I had, again, super low expectations for this. This was the thing that, like, I was like, do we need this? And if you want to go back and listen, and I love this show. I absolutely love this show. And
I enjoyed it too. And I don't love animation, but it was fun. It was a fun show. And this season was definitely, there was a through story and interesting, but yeah, they're like, here's a list of everything we need to sort of talk about or slightly make fun of in the Star Trek universe, and they do that, which is great.
If you go through, I mean, somebody somewhere's got to do a rundown, maybe on a Wikipedia page or something, of all the references in this show, and it's amazing. I mean, like right down to giant Spock's skeleton from the animated series, and the fact that when they showed flashbacks of Kirk and Spock, they were animated. You know, they were drawn like they were animated. It's just like, it's just so great. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I also feel like they ended it when they should have ended it. That
I agree.
You could have milked this for another couple seasons, but the reality is they're not lower decks anymore. Once they'd moved up, and they were lieutenants. You know, you either had to hand off to a different group of people, or acknowledge that and move on. And yeah.
Well, and for an animated show, all the characters showed growth. Like each one of their characters grew, and they had actual like storylines, and it wasn't just a cartoon character every week that was exactly the same. I mean,
like
look at Rutherford. Like Rutherford was
look at
probably
Rutherford,
the most
even
throwaway
like
character.
Bringing in the Vulcan science officer who they seeded like several episodes earlier, and that worked really well. You know, that could have been the cousin Oliver of this, but it worked really well. And they just did a great job all the way around, because they were to the point they needed someone. They needed a foil because they had become too comfortable with each other, and the timing was perfect.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, cousin Oliver went on to Galactica 80. So
that's right.
Don't knock him.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. This is true.
I think it was 80, wasn't it?
I think it was.
It was somewhere.
Yep.
Like who thought that? Well, it didn't work on Brady Bunch, so let's do it here.
Let's do it here. Yeah. Yep.
They did it on so many shows.
Yep. The Cosby Show
Different
did
Strokes
it. It's
brought
just
in
like
that little redheaded
different
boy.
let's find another cute kid. Because
Sam. His name was Sam.
Our cute kid isn't cute anymore.
Well, it's funny. Even what was the show that was smart about it was it Growing Pains, the one with Alan Thicke? They're like, let's make them have a baby, and then the next season they realize there's nothing we could do with a baby, so now she's 7.
Yeah.
and that's
true.
the girl who wound up being the Q on whatever that show was, the girl with the tattoos show.
Oh yeah. That was the one. Yeah.
What was that
God,
called?
I can't even remember the name of it.
Patterson.
The
character's name was Patterson.
Blind Spot.
Blind Spot. Yeah. You watched it, Todd.
I did not.
I
saw the first episode. I saw the first episode. That was it.
Oh, and she's like the tech nerd. She was the little girl on Growing Pains.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I got it right. It's called Blind Spot. I was like,
and she's really also the mother in This Is Us, the zombie show.
Yeah,
whatever that show is.
Oh yes.
Last of Us.
Okay, Last
of Us.
Yep.
There's a lot of things.
There's a lot of Us shows out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Lower Decks. If you haven't watched it and you remotely like Star Trek, give it a chance. It's great.
Yeah,
it's easy to watch. It is 23-minute episodes, not like
except the last one and I think the final season one. The last ones are like 10 minutes extra long, but other than that, it's fun. So, good, nice short watches.
Let's go. What's in the box?
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Barry, what's in the box?
It's a quick one, but we talked about this. I don't know if it was on the air or off the air. I know I sent it to you guys that I spotted this somewhere in a Facebook post and decided I needed to have it and chased it down. It's a Battlestar Galactica comic book with a cover that is reminiscent of the Star Wars poster. So it's Starbuck with his blaster up.
We talked about it.
Oh, I know I sent it to Todd at least. Maybe I didn't.
Yep.
Maybe we didn't talk about it on the show. But I always want to say Bob Ross, but it's not Bob Ross. It's the artist, somebody Ross. Artist.
Alex Ross.
Alex Ross, thank you. He did the artwork.
Two different guys.
If it's Bob Ross, it'd be happy little trees in the background.
I know it's not Bob Ross. It's Dynamite issue number 3.
Yeah.
And it was a variant cover, but yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's totally the Star Wars poster.
Is it pixelated or is that just your video?
No, it's the video. It's actually not pixelated. I don't know if you can see it there.
Okay.
Yep.
There's Starbuck and no Apollo anywhere.
No Apollo. It's got Boxy and Muffet on the ground, which is supposed to be like C-3PO and R2-D2. And instead of Princess Leia,
funny.
he's got both Athena and Cassiopeia hanging off of him.
As well he should.
And then instead of Vader's helmet in the background, it's a Cylon helmet in the background.
That's a cool
Yeah.
deal.
It was like
I got to say, if you like Battlestar, Dynamite did some cool stuff, and one of them was a crossover between the two Battlestars. They had like a rift, like a time-space rift.
Oh, that's cool.
Really?
And both Battlestar crews kind of came into contact with each
Starbuck
other.
meet Starbuck.
What's that? Yep. Yes, that was a fun bit when the two Starbucks met.
But definitely, I may never read it, but it's a cool cover.
I would actually get that. That's current or no?
No, this is from
It's a while
back.
ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll send you the info when it's safe.
well, I don't remember seeing it at Alex Roth's booth. He had a lot of comics.
Yeah, maybe it's because it was a variant. Maybe he didn't have any of these, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's what I have.
cool.
Todd, what's in the box?
Okay, so it is another EXO 6-figure. This one's
Or
Rolaren.
XO6.
And this is kind of cool. So they've now gone to a box that opens this way.
Oh, like a
Which is-
like this thing your shoes.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
better
Like
than
a
the
shoe
old
box,
time.
which is like an athletic shoe box, which is really nice.
And it's easier to keep
Oh, my
it
God,
in,
yes.
keep the box without
And get it in and out of the box. And I hope this is what they're going to do right down the line.
Does
Because
it still have
getting
those
them in
plastic corners?
it does not, which are a total pain in the ass trying to get the box
Yes,
back in there with the
they
plastic
are.
corners. But this is a very rugged, I would say, crush-proof box. And I'm going to stop talking about the box right now. Figure is great, very basic figure. It does not look as good on camera. I'll get some good pictures of it, but it's she's perfect. It's absolutely great, and super pleased with it. And yeah, it's like and not a big, not a lot of accessories, but it's
Yeah, you don't need
no,
it.
you don't.
You don't need them with that
and,
kind of a figure.
good likeness. I like it better than the original pictures, and yeah, like I said, one of my favorite characters from the show. So, yeah,
They've been doing great stuff.
they really have. They really have.
Oh yeah, I forgot to. Did I say it? Chang is up for pre-order. General Chang
Yep.
is up for pre-order. I remember if I mentioned it.
I might need him.
Yeah, I will say soon I'm going to need a Spock shelf because I got another Spock on pre-order, and yep, and there will be more. Dave, what do you got?
So I have something I got in the last. Was it the last? I don't know. There's so many freaking auctions. I don't know which one it was, but this was from the Prop Store auction in November. Did it not sell? I had my eye on it. I don't know if this is it, and I may not have sold, so I bought it after the fact at a lower price because if it doesn't sell, you can buy it. Anyway, this is from Aliens, which I don't have anything original from Aliens, and it's very hard when a strap to a pulse rifle goes for $10,000.
Yeah, I know. It's like
So, but this is, and I showed you guys. These are parts of the Colonial Marine armor.
it's a
And I'll
Gorret.
put a picture up of it. Yeah, it goes around the.
Yeah,
to
is that
protect the throat.
if it were armor, that would be called a Gorret.
Gorret.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
So it was made by Terry English, and it actually comes from Terry English's collection, handmade out of aluminum and painted. But they wound up not using it because the first day on the set, the sound guy was like, those things are clanking into the chest plate, so we cannot wear them. So they ultimately didn't use them, but I have 3 of them. Me and Brian Mix split the lot. And actually, I did find in the making of Alien's book, there is a drawing when Cameron actually designed the Colonial Marine uniforms, and it's got this piece in it. So, they were not expensive, but I always wanted something from Terry English.
And the painting on
the armor is cool.
is exactly what the armor for the Colonial Marines was painted like. So it's perfect.
Suit of armor is what, $30,000?
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. This is a piece of it, so I'm happy to have something.
This is the piece they left on the dropship.
And I'm making a display for that. So
Cool.
I'll share that.
That's awesome.
So that's what's in
you
the
are
box.
slowly but surely getting something from all of your favorite franchises.
Yes, more on that next week. So next week we'll talk about Skywalker Ranch.
Yeah, we can talk about the ranch. We can talk about.
It's almost like we're not allowed to say that word for a long time, but now we are.
Yes, I can talk about that. I can talk about Lucasfilm. I can talk about some of the people that we got to see while we were out there. We had dinner with a number of really cool people. So, good stories to tell for next week.
Todd had a cool screening he went to at a cool theater. We'll hear about that next week. We are previewing a show a week in advance for you because we're this organized. And then 3 weeks from now...
He said this organized and not disorganized.
That's right. I heard this, but hey.
Like this.
I don't know if it's the week after that or that we are going to a special location.
We are.
That we'll have a show from.
We're doing a location shoot,
Airbnbs
people.
are booked.
We're doing... Yeah, we got all kinds of things. We're going someplace in May that we'll probably do a show from.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
We got stuff going on. This is no fly-by-night operation.
We're trying to make 2025 great again.
It's the year of George. It's the summer of George.
It's the summer of George. It's not the summer of suck.
Yeah, we're trying to make... Yeah, if we could salvage this freaking year. The way to salvage is don't look at the news ever.
Yeah.
And
that's my
go
motto.
to cool places and do cool things and not think about what's going on in the world.
Yeah, because there's no way to stop it. You had your chance, and you fucked it all up. So...
You finally did it! You blew it all to hell!
Yeah, that's right. I know.
And on that note,
everyone woke up on...
And on that note...
On November whatever, and the fucking Statue of Liberty is in half on the beach.
Yeah.
And also, while I'm thinking of that, I know we haven't been on the air for a while, but there's the fires in L.A. and Malibu where Planet of the Apes was filmed, and our thoughts go out to all those people because that is just an awful, awful situation.
Yes, for sure.
And the news is not even talking about it anymore, and it is far from over.
Well, they were tonight because as we started to record, they just gave an evacuation warning for 20,000 people. There's another fire burning
because the winds picked up, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I mean this. Yeah. So anyway, if anyone's out there, and I know we have some friends out there, everyone that we know of is in good shape.
Yeah, our friends are safe
anyway,
as of now. And I guess as a last thought, we should just mention David Lynch passed since we've been recording last.
Yep.
So, some very, very interesting movies he's made throughout his career. Some of them I enjoyed more than others, but I respected that he always made his movies with no sacrifice.
His way. He did it his way.
Yep.
Yep.
So rest in peace, David Lynch.
Yes. Cool. Well, anyway, lots coming up. We got all kinds of good stuff. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.